My name is David. 3 months ago, I thought I had the perfect life. A cozy home in the suburbs, 2 kids who made me proud, and a wife, Clara, who still held my hand at dinner parties like we were newlyweds. We'd been married 17 years. 17 years of inside jokes, burnt casseroles, and Netflix binges. Then, one Thursday morning, I found a receipt in her gym bag for a hotel downtown. The date on it was from the week before, the same day she'd told me she was working late. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I started noticing things. The way she'd smile at her phone and tuck it face down when I walked into the room. The sudden girls' nights that happened twice a week. The new leggings, the crop tops, the way she'd started humming in the shower again. She was 42, but dressing like she'd just turned 22. And then there was him, Liam, her 24-year-old personal trainer. I'd met him once when I picked Clara up from the gym. He had the kind of smile that made you want to trust him. All white teeth, and dimples, and biceps that looked like they'd been carved out of marble. "Your wife's killing it in here," he'd said, slinging an arm around her shoulders like it was nothing. She'd laughed, a little too loud, and swatted his chest. I should have known right then. But denial is a warm blanket. I wrapped myself in it until the night Clara fell asleep on the couch, her phone lighting up with a text. "Can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again?" My hands shook so hard I almost dropped the phone. I scrolled up. Photos I wish I could unsee. Plans to meet at the same hotel from the receipt. Pet names that made me nauseous. "My king," she called him. "My queen," he wrote back. I took screenshots. Sent them to myself. Deleted the evidence. Then I sat in the dark kitchen until sunrise, replaying every moment of the last year. The missed birthdays. The excuses. The way she'd flinch when I touched her. When she woke up, I asked her straight, "Are you cheating on me?" She froze. Then came the tears. The apologies. It didn't mean anything. And it just happened. She swore it was over. Begged me to stay for the kids. I said I'd think about it. But that night, while she slept, I drove to Liam's apartment, parked across the street, and watched him stroll out at 1 a.m., gym bag slung over his shoulder, heading toward the 24-hour fitness center down the block. That's when I realized Clara wasn't the only one lying. My name is David, and 3 weeks after discovering my wife's affair, I became a ghost in my own life. I moved through the house like a shadow, smiling at the kids' soccer games, nodding as Clara nervously chatted about the weather, all while my mind spun with a single question: how do I burn their world down the way they burned mine? Revenge isn't a sprint, it's a chess game, and I had nothing but time. First, I dug into Liam. Not the surface-level Google search any angry husband might do. No, I wanted his patterns, his habits, the cracks in his perfectly sculpted facade. Turns out, a tax accountant knows how to follow money trails, and Liam's trail stank. He worked at Iron Peak Gym, a neon-lit meat market downtown where middle-aged women swiped their credit cards for wellness packages that included private sessions in dimly lit studios. But his paychecks didn't match his lifestyle. The kid drove a BMW M4, rented a loft in a gentrified neighborhood, and wore a Rolex Submariner that cost more than my Honda. So where was the cash coming from? I called in a favor from an old college buddy, Marcus, who worked in private security. "I need everything," I told him. "Bank records, social media aliases, parking tickets, everything." 2 days later, Marcus slid a manila envelope across my desk at work. Inside were photos of Liam leaving a high-end apartment complex at 3 a.m., arm in arm with a woman who wasn't Clara, then another, and another. Over the next week, Marcus tracked him to 5 different addresses. 5 different women, all over 35, all flashing rings on their left hands. Liam wasn't just a homewrecker. He was a businessman. One of the women was named Jenna. Her Instagram was public, a feed of sunset yoga poses and Savar blessed captions. I recognized her from the gym. She'd been in Clara's spin class. When I reverse-searched her number, I found her husband, a balding CFO named Greg, who golfed every Sunday and, according to LinkedIn, traveled 20 days a month. I waited outside Jenna's house on a Tuesday afternoon, parked 3 blocks away, sunglasses on. She pulled into her driveway at 2 p.m., yoga mat in hand. Liam's BMW was already there. They didn't bother closing the blinds. Clara, meanwhile, swung between guilt and defiance. She'd cook elaborate dinners. Her famous lasagna, my favorite, then snap at me when I barely touched it. "You're punishing me," she hissed one night, after the kids went to bed. "How long are you going to keep this up?" "Keep what up?" I said, staring at the TV. This coldness. I said I was sorry. What else do you want? I want you to hurt. I want you to feel it. Instead, I shrugged. "I'm thinking." The truth was, I'd already met with a divorce lawyer, a shark named Diane who wore red stilettos, and quoted Sun Tzu-ing consultations. "Adultery's a gift in this state," she said, tapping her pen against a legal pad. "We'll take her to the cleaners, but—" She paused. "You're not here to talk about divorce, are you?" I leaned forward. "What makes you say that?" "Men like you don't hire me to win," she said. "They hire me to watch someone lose." I paid her retainer in cash. The next phase required patience. I started working late too, volunteering for audits that had me sifting through paperwork until 9 p.m. Clara barely noticed. She was too busy texting Liam, thinking she'd deleted their thread. But I'd installed a keylogger on her laptop the day after I found the hotel receipt. Every keystroke, every password, every desperate "I miss you" lit up my phone like a fireworks show. One name kept popping up: Elysian Suites, the same hotel from the receipt. Every Thursday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., room 214. I showed up on February 8th. Not to confront them, to watch. The Elysian was a boutique hotel with a rooftop bar and $20 valet parking. I wore a baseball cap and a delivery driver's uniform I'd bought off Amazon, carrying a cardboard box stuffed with packing peanuts. The front desk clerk didn't look up as I breezed past, muttering into a fake headset. Yeah, room 214, got it." The elevator smelled like lavender. My hands didn't shake. Outside their door, I heard her laugh. Clara's laugh, the one she used to reserve for me when we'd sneak into empty conference rooms during office parties. Now it was muffled through cheap drywall, followed by the creak of a headboard. I set the box down gently. Inside was a $50 voice-activated recorder, tucked under a layer of tissue paper. Then I knocked twice and sprinted to the stairwell. A minute later, Liam opened the door, shirtless, towel around his waist. "Hello?" No one there. Just a box labeled "Fragile." Linens. He dragged it inside. That night, I lay in bed beside Clara, listening to the audio on noise-canceling headphones. "You think he suspects anything?" Liam's voice, gravelly and amused. "He's clueless," Clara said. A pause. "But what if he finds out?" "So what? You said he's a pushover. Wouldn't even fight for you." "I know, but nothing. Hey, you want to get out of here after? There's this new club downtown. I can't. The kids have piano at 4. Ugh, kids. You're way too hot to be somebody's mom." She laughed. "You're terrible. You love it. The sound of skin on skin." Then Clara, breathless, "I do." I replayed that last line 17 times. By March, I had enough. Bank statements showing Liam funneling cash from 3 different women into a shell company. Security footage of him entering Jenna's house while Greg was in Dubai. And the pièce de résistance, a video from a client named Rebecca, a 38-year-old realtor who'd paid Liam $10,000 to train her in the Bahamas last summer. But I didn't want to expose him, wanted to own him. So I rented a burner phone and texted him. "Jenna's husband knows. Meet me at the gym parking lot, 10 p.m. Come alone." He showed up in joggers and a hoodie, glancing over his shoulder like a cornered animal. I stepped out of the shadows, my face hidden under a hood. "Who the f—" I cut him off. "Greg hired me. He's got photos, videos. He's filing a lawsuit for alienation of affection. You're gonna lose everything." Liam's bravado crumbled. Look, man, I can explain. Jenna came on to me. She's crazy, I swear." I held up a hand. "Save it. Greg's willing to drop the charges for a price." "How much?" 50 grand. Cash. By Friday." He paled. "I don't have that kind of money." I leaned closer. "Then I suggest you start asking your other clients." Clara noticed the change in him. "Liam's been acting weird," she told me over pancakes the next morning. He canceled our last 2 sessions. Do you think he's sick? I shrugged. Maybe he's busy. She stabbed her fork into a strawberry. He's probably just stressed. He's so sensitive. You know, like a poet in a fighter's body. I almost choked on my coffee. That Friday, Liam left an envelope duct-taped under the dumpster behind Iron Peak Gym. Inside was $37,000 and a scribbled note. It's all I have. Please don't ruin me. I texted him. Not enough. You have 48 hours. He didn't sleep. I know because I followed him. To ATMs, to pawn shops, even to his mother's house in the next county. By Sunday night, he'd scraped together $49,200. I met him in the same parking lot. This time, he looked like he hadn't eaten in days. Here, he said, thrusting a duffel bag at me. Now tell Greg to back off. I unzipped the bag, counted the stacks, then pulled down my hood. His face went slack. You. Me. Does Clara? Oh, she'll find out, I said, tossing the duffel into my trunk. But first, you're going to do something for me. My name is David, and by the time April rolled around, I'd become someone I didn't recognize. The man who used to balance checkbooks and coach Little League now spent his nights parked outside strangers' homes, sipping cold coffee and snapping photos of a man half his age digging his own grave. Liam's task was simple. Tell Clara everything. Not just about the affair. About the other women. The money. The way he'd laughed at her in that hotel room. Make her feel stupid, I said. Make her feel used. He refused at first. She'll hate me, he muttered, pacing the gym parking lot like a caged animal. She already hates me, I said. And you've got 2 choices. Do this, or I leak those videos to every husband, gym member, and Instagram follower you've ever had. How long do you think your business lasts when they see you're just a grifter in Lululemon? He crumpled. Agreed. But I didn't trust him. So I planted a GPS tracker in his car and bugged his phone. Clara's birthday was April 12th. She wanted a quiet dinner with the kids. Instead, I booked a table at La Maison, the French restaurant where we'd celebrated our 10th anniversary. She wore the emerald necklace I'd bought her that year, its gems catching the candlelight. As she picked at her duck confit, "You've been different lately," she said, swirling her Pinot Noir. "Different how?" "I don't know. Distant, or maybe too close." Her eyes narrowed. "Are you seeing someone?" I almost laughed. "No." "Then what's going on? You've been coming home late. You're always on your phone. And last week I found a burner in the waiter interrupted with dessert. Crème brûlée, her favorite. She'd forgotten I remembered. As the sugar crackled under her spoon, my phone buzzed. A text from Liam. "It's done. Check your email." I excused myself to the restroom. The video was 12 minutes long. Grainy, shot from the chest pocket of Liam's hoodie, but clear enough. Clara's face pale under the fluorescent lights of Iron Peak Gym, as Liam leaned against a treadmill and said, "Look, Clara, this thing between us, it was fun, but I've got other clients now. You're not the only one, okay?" She stumbled back. "Other clients?" "Yeah. Jenna, Rebecca, that blonde from Pilates. Hell, Greg's wife paid me double what you did." "Paid you?" Her voice cracked. "You said you loved me," Liam snorted. "Come on, you're twice my age. Did you really think this was some fairy tale?" The camera shook as she lunged at him, nails raking his cheek. "You lied to me. You ruined my marriage." "You ruined your marriage," he spat, shoving her off. "I just gave you an excuse." The video ended with her collapsing on a weight bench, sobbing into her hands. I closed the app, splashed water on my face, and returned to the table. "Everything okay?" Clara asked. "Perfect," I said, smiling for the first time in months. She came home drunk that night. Not wine drunk, tequila drunk. The kind where she tripped over the rug and called me by Liam's name. "It's David," I said, steadying her. She blinked, her mascara smudged into raccoon circles. You knew, didn't you? That's why you've been so cold." I didn't answer, just led her to the couch. "He used me," she slurred, tears dripping onto her blouse. "He said I was nothing." I handed her a glass of water. Watched her choke it down. "Why didn't you tell me?" she whispered. Would you have believed me? She stared at her hands. No. The next morning, I woke to the smell of bacon. Clara stood at the stove, her hair in a messy bun, flipping pancakes with robotic precision. I'm sorry, she said, not turning around. For which part? All of it. She slid a plate toward me. I'll go to therapy. I'll quit. The gym. I'll do whatever you want. Just please don't leave. I ate a bite of pancake. Okay, her shoulders relaxed. Okay? Yeah, but I need time. What I didn't tell her. Time was the one thing she didn't have. Liam's downfall came faster than I expected. With his savings drained from paying me off, he got desperate, started charging clients triple for VIP sessions. But Rebecca, the realtor, wasn't as clueless as he thought. She'd hired a PI. By May, her lawsuit hit the local news. Fitness trainer accused of blackmail, fraud, and emotional distress. Iron Peak Gym fired him. His BMW got repossessed. And the final nail? His mother, a devout Baptist, disowned him on Facebook. I raised him better. This is the devil's work. I saved the post as a PDF. Clara found it on her own. She showed me the article one night, her hands trembling. Look what happened to Liam. Karma's a bitch, I said, flipping channels. She studied my face. Did you have anything to do with this? Why would I? She didn't ask again. But revenge has a way of curdling. One evening, my daughter Emily found me in the garage sorting through Liam's leaked photos on my laptop. Dad, what's that? I snapped the screen shut. Work stuff. What's up, kiddo? She twisted the hem of her unicorn shirt. Are you and Mom getting divorced? My throat tightened. Where'd you hear that? Madison's parents got divorced and her dad moved away. You're not gonna move away, right? I pulled her into a hug. Never. But that night, I lay awake, her words clawing at me. What am I teaching them? That love is conditional? That forgiveness is for suckers? Then I'd remember the audio. You're way too hot to be somebody's mom. And the rage would flood back, sweet and syrupy. The final piece came in June. A certified letter from Diane, my lawyer. Clara's name blazed across the envelope. What's this? She asked, slicing it open with a butter knife. I watched her. Eyes dart across the page. Dissolution of marriage. Infidelity. Full custody. Before she dropped it like it was on fire. You're divorcing me? Yes. But I thought... You said you'd stay. I lied. She sank to the floor, the paper crinkling under her knees. Please, the kids. They need us. I need you. I crouched in front of her. You needed me when you were screwing Liam? I was lonely. You were always working, always tired. So, that's my fault? No. I'm sorry. I stood. Sorry doesn't unbreak things, Clara. She moved out the next week. A one-bedroom apartment near the highway, with paper-thin walls and a view of a parking garage. The kids blamed me. Why can't Mom come home? Emily cried, clutching her stuffed owl. Sometimes adults make mistakes, I said. But you make mistakes too. Remember when you forgot my school play? That night, I Googled alienation of affection lawsuits. Read about kids who never spoke to their parents again. Diane called it collateral damage. The last time I saw Clara, she was loading a U-Haul with her grandmother's china. She looked older, frayed. You win, she said, slamming the trunk. Happy? I wasn't. But I'd rather rot in this hollow victory than let her think she could break me. As she drove off, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You think you're done with me? Watch your back, asshole. Attached was a photo of my house, taken that morning. My name is David, and by the time summer arrived, I'd forgotten what peace felt like. The text from Liam, watch your back, asshole, haunted me. I installed cameras around the house, slept with a baseball bat under the bed, and jumped at every creak in the floorboards. The photo he'd sent of my house wasn't just a threat, it was a promise. But I didn't tell Clara. What was the point? She'd moved out, and the kids split their time between us like reluctant diplomats. Emily, my 12-year-old, stopped singing in the shower. My son, Jake, buried himself in video games. his headphones clamped so tight they left red marks on his temples. Every weekend when I dropped them off at Clara's apartment, Emily would whisper, "Please don't make us go." She didn't understand. Neither did I. Liam's first move was subtle. A flat tire on my Honda, then a dead rat on the porch. By July, the power in my house began flickering off at night. The electrician found frayed wires near the meter. "Looks like someone tampered with it," he said, wiping grease off his hands. "You got enemies?" "Just one." I called Marcus, my security buddy. "I need a favor." "Another one?" He sighed. "Dave, this guy's unhinged. You should have let me handle him months ago." "Just track his phone. Tell me where he is." An hour later, Marcus sent a screenshot of Liam's location, a dive bar 20 minutes away. I grabbed my bat and drove. The bar reeked of stale beer and regret. Liam sat at the counter, hunched over a whiskey, his face gaunt and stubbled. The Rolex was gone, so was the swagger. I slid onto the stool beside him. "Miss me?" He flinched, sloshing his drink. "What the hell do you want?" "You texted me, remember?" I pulled out my phone, showed him the photo of my house. "Classy move." He squinted at it. "I didn't send that." "Bullshit. Swear to God, man." His breath was sour, desperate. "I'm done with you. Done with her. I'm leaving town tonight." I studied his face, the tremor in his hands, the sweat on his brow. He was telling the truth. "Then who sent it?" He laughed, a hollow sound. "You pissed off a lot of people, Dave. Pick a side." The kids were at Clara's that night. I drove past her apartment just to check. Her lights were off. No cars in the lot except her dented Corolla. But as I turned onto the highway, headlights flared behind me. A black SUV, no plates. It tailed me for 6 miles. I sped up. So did they. At a red light, I grabbed my phone, dialed 911. The SUV revved its engine, inching closer. Then, at the last second, it swerved onto an exit ramp and vanished. I pulled over, my heart slamming against my ribs. That's when I noticed the envelope tucked under my windshield wiper. Inside was a single photo. Emily and Jake on the playground at school. "You don't get to win," read the note. Clara showed up at my door the next morning, mascara streaking. Her cheeks. "Someone followed me last night," she said, clutching her coffee like a lifeline. "A black SUV. They circled my block for hours." I didn't tell her about the photo, didn't tell her about Liam. Instead, I poured her a drink. We sat on the porch, the silence between us heavier than the humidity. "I'm scared," she said finally. "Join the club." She reached for my hand. I let her. "Do you ever miss us?" she asked. "Every day," I thought. But I said, "I miss who we used to be." The next 48 hours blurred into a nightmare. First, my office called. Someone had hacked the company server, leaking clients' financial data. My name was all over the news. "Disgruntled employee sabotages firm," the headlines screamed. Diane, my lawyer, warned me not to leave the house. Then, Clara's apartment was broken into. Nothing stolen, just Emily's stuffed owl shredded on the floor, its stuffing scattered like snow. The final blow came at 3 a.m. A call from the hospital. Jake had spiked a 104-degree fever. "It's meningitis," the doctor said. "We need to run more tests." Clara blamed me. "This stress is killing him," she screamed in the waiting room, her voice echoing off sterile walls. I didn't argue. She was right. While Jake slept, hooked to IVs, I scoured security footage from my house. The night of the break-in, a figure in a hoodie had jimmied the back window. Too tall to be Liam. Too broad-shouldered. Marcus identified him in seconds. Greg, Jenna's husband, the CFO. Of course. I'd forgotten about him. The man whose wife Liam had seduced. The man whose life I'd saved by blackmailing Liam. Except Greg didn't know I'd orchestrated it. He thought Liam had scammed Jenna on his own. And now he wanted payback. But why come after me? The answer was in Jenna's texts, which Marcus pulled from Liam's old phone. "Greg found the money missing. He thinks you stole it. He's coming for you." I'd framed Liam. Now Greg thought I was the thief. I found Greg at a construction site downtown, overseeing a half-built skyscraper. He wore a hard hat and a permanent scowl. "We need to talk," I said. He signaled his crew to leave. "You've got 5 minutes." I laid it all out. The affair, the blackmail, the money. Liam played your wife. I played Liam. You're mad at the wrong guy. Greg's fist connected with my jaw before I finished speaking. I tasted blood. "You ruined my marriage," he growled. "Jenna left me. Took the kids. All because of your little games. I was trying to protect you." He laughed, cold and sharp. "You don't protect people. You destroy them." He tossed a flash drive at my feet. "That's your security footage. Next time, I burn your house down." Jake recovered. Emily started talking to me again. But the damage was done. Clara filed for full custody, citing emotional neglect. Diane fought it, but the judge ordered supervised visits. "It's temporary," Diane assured me. It didn't feel temporary. The last time I saw the kids before the ruling, Emily asked, "Is it true you made Mom cry?" "It's complicated." I said. "You always say that," she snapped. "Just tell the truth." So I did. I told them about the affair, the revenge, the lies. They cried. I cried. Clara screamed at me in the parking lot. "They didn't need to know," she said. "Yes," I said. "They did." Liam was found dead in a motel outside Reno 2 weeks later. Overdose. The police ruled it accidental, but I knew better. Karma? Guilt? Or another pawn in Greg's game? I didn't care. Clara showed up at the funeral. We stood on opposite sides of the grave, avoiding each other's eyes. Afterward, she handed me an envelope. "I'm moving," she said. "To Ohio. The kids want a fresh start." The envelope held plane tickets. One way. "When?" I asked. "Tomorrow." The word knocked the air out of me. "You can't," I said. "I have to." That night, I sat in Jake's empty bedroom, clutching his forgotten Pokémon plush. The walls echoed with laughter that didn't exist anymore. My phone buzzed. A text. From Marcus. "Greg's been arrested. They found the flash drive." I didn't reply. Revenge had cost me everything. And the worst part? I'd do it all again. My name is David, and this is where my story ends. Not with a bang, but with the quiet suffocation of a life half-lived. The morning Clara and the kids left for Ohio, I stood at the airport security line, Emily's face pressed against Jake's shoulder as they glanced back one last time. Clara didn't look at me. She didn't have to. Her grip on their hands said everything. "You did this." I drove home in silence, the empty car echoing with memories. Jake's gum wrapper stuck under the seat. Emily's hair tie on the dashboard. Halfway there, I pulled over and vomited onto the shoulder. The house felt like a museum. Clara's perfume still lingered in the bedroom. Jake's unfinished Lego castle gathered dust on the coffee table. I poured a drink, then another, until the walls stopped judging me. At midnight, my phone rang. A blocked number. "You happy now?" Greg's voice. He'd made bail. "What do you want?" I slurred. "To watch you rot. You think losing your kids is the end? This is just the start." I hung up, blocked him, then smashed the phone against the kitchen tile. The next morning I found a letter in the mailbox, Emily's handwriting, wobbly and rushed. "Dear Dad, Mom says we can't call you anymore. She's crying a lot. Jake won't talk. I hate Ohio. It smells like worms. I miss my room. I miss when you laughed. Why did you have to be so mean? Love, Emmy." I folded the note into my wallet, next to a photo of us at Disneyland. Clara's lawyer. Sent divorce papers a week later. I signed them without reading. Diane said I could fight for visitation. "But do you really want to?" she asked. I didn't. Instead, I sold the house, donated the kids' toys, packed Clara's things into boxes labeled charity. When the movers left, I sat on the floor, staring at the faint outline of where our couch used to be. A knock startled me. Jenna stood in the doorway, her eyes red-rimmed. "Can I come in?" Hadn't spoken since the scandal. She looked smaller now, her yoga-toned arms crossed like armor. "Greg's filing for divorce," she said, perching on a packing box. "Turns out, he's been cheating for years. long before Liam. I handed her a beer. Why tell me? Because you're the only one who gets it. She took a swig. Revenge doesn't fix anything, does it? No, I said. It just burns whatever's left. I moved into a studio apartment downtown. Bare walls, a fold-out couch, no photos. The silence was unbearable, so I drowned it with work. Late nights, endless spreadsheets, anything to outrun the guilt. Then, in November, another letter arrived. From Jake. Dad, Mom got a new boyfriend. His name is Rick. He has a dog. I don't like him. He calls me sport. Emily cries every night. She thinks you don't love us. I don't think that. But why don't you come get us? Jake. I booked a flight that night. Clara's apartment was a third-floor walk-up with peeling paint and a flickering porch light. She opened the door in a bathrobe, her face hardening. What are you doing here? I want to see them. They're sleeping. Clara, please. She hesitated, then stepped aside. Emily's room was plastered with unicorn stickers. Jake's held a half-built robot from a kit I'd mailed him. They slept curled like commas, their breath soft and unguarded. I didn't wake them. Just left 2 envelopes on their pillows. For Emmy, a keychain from our road trip to the Grand Canyon. For Jake, a signed baseball from his first game. Clara followed me out. You can't just appear like this. I'm their father. Are you? She hugged herself against the cold. You chose revenge over them. The truth was a knife. I let it cut. Tell them I love them, I said. She shut the door without answering. Greg was sentenced to 3 years for arson and stalking. The day of his trial, Jenna texted, You testifying? No, I wrote back. Let it go. She didn't. The judge called it a crime of passion. Greg got probation. Jenna moved to Oregon. Last month, I found Liam's mother at a church food bank. She didn't recognize me, her gnarled hands sorting canned goods as she hummed a hymn. He wasn't always bad, she said when I mentioned him. His daddy left when he was 6. After that, he just stopped trusting love. I handed her a donation check. She tore it up. Keep your blood money, she said. Prayer's the only currency that matters here. Today is my 45th birthday. I bought a cupcake, stuck a candle in it, and sat by the river. The sunset looked like something Clara would have painted. My phone buzzed. A voicemail. Emily's voice, tentative. Hey, Dad. I'm applying to colleges. Mom said I shouldn't ask you, but there's one near Chicago. Maybe we could get lunch, if you want. Okay. Bye. I played it 7 times. Then I texted her. Name the place. I'll be there. What do you think? Was David's revenge worth the price? Could forgiveness have saved his family, or was the damage too deep? If you were Emily or Jake, would you give him another chance? Share your thoughts below. Every choice here is a mirror. Thanks for staying until the end. If this story haunted you, check out my other videos on love, loss, and the lies we tell to survive. And to anyone fighting to rebuild after the fire, keep going. The ashes might just be fertile ground.